Hi, Kris. This is Allison. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Good. I was listening to you speak at one of your seminars, and you were talking how you go into the schools. I can hear your heart with educating the students from middle school, high school, and college. How are you able to get into the schools? I mean, that's a great accomplishment.
Well, thank you. We can't do that without the people, though, because we don't actually solicit for venues. People contact us and say, hey, we want KrisAnne to come and teach here. And in order to get into the schools, we need concerned parents and even concerned citizens who are willing to step up and say, hey, and contact their school board, the superintendents, and even the principals. The local principals can bring in speakers. And the way we operate, we do so in such a way to help people do that. Because you see, I have no speaking fees, and I don't require anybody to pay me for or compensate me for travel or accommodations. And so, especially with the school system meetings, because we have to make sure that this education gets back in our schools.
I want to remind the audience that we're talking to KrisAnne Hall, constitutional attorney and advocate extraordinaire. And if you'd like to ask KrisAnne Hall a question, please call 734-822-1600. That's 734-822-1600.
Hi, Kris. This is Gina. And
hi, Gina.
Hi. It's good to talk to you again. I've been to
Thank you.
Several of your seminars, and you are a true inspiration to me and to so many others. And I thank you for your work. I have a couple questions. One is, how do we get our legislators to listen to you? How would you suggest that us that are involved in the grassroots go about doing that?
Well, I've actually taught the legislators of Utah, Arizona, Kansas, and Oregon. I am scheduled to teach the legislators of Idaho in February of next year, and we're working on scheduling in Washington State. And the way that happens is that the people contact their legislator. They find a friend in the House or in the Senate, and then they reserve a room and a date. We set up the whole meeting, and then they literally go door to door in the House and the Senate, and they say, look, we are going to have this constitutional training, and we know that you take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and through this training, we want to be assured that you know the right things and that you know the proper ways to operate according to your oath. And if you come, we will give you food, because you have to have food for them. And if you come, we will give you food, and we will let everybody know in your voting district that you came and you care about the Constitution. And if you don't come, we will let everybody know that you did not come.
Interesting.
I like that. And what kind of response have you gotten, and have you seen any tangible results from what you've done in terms of the way the legislators are responding legislatively?
I don't think that, first off, is seeing a tangible response. I think the tangible response that I see is one of enthusiasm and a renewed vigor towards constitutional principles. I think that we have, that the training is too new for us. We have had we haven't had enough time to actually see any real results come from what we're doing. But we are seeing, the other encouraging thing is that we are seeing more trainings. I mean, I started with with Utah, and then the word started getting around, and now we have other states that are coming in and people being excited about this. And what I hope to do is simply plant seeds. I am in a position where I don't have the luxury often of seeing the fruit of my labors. And I'll just be honest with you, when I first started this mission, that was a difficult point to get over. But now I realize that I'm a messenger, And it's my job to sow the seeds, and sometimes I even might get to water them. But only God can bring the increase.
Right. Very well said. May I ask you another question?
Sure, go ahead.
One of the things that you stated was that you wanted, to bring this document into the mainstream of our politics and our media, as you put it. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the New York Times. I'm wondering why the New York Times. Why have you deliberately targeted such a liberal magazine? Because it seems like liberals are not very likely to accept what you're saying and would probably mock it and vilify it. And then the other part of my question is, have you considered the more independently minded news outlets like Drudge, Daily Caller, WorldNet, Washington Free Beacon, and Breitbart? And the third part of my question, if you can remember all this, is Alan Dershowitz is actually incredibly has been very critical of Obama's misuse of his executive authority. Do you think there's any opportunities here for you to get him engaged with your document?
KrisAnne, we have some callers on the line as well, so please make your answer brief.
Okay, so why the New York Times? Because it has probably one of the largest subscriberships in the United States. And we believe that liberty is a bipartisan, a nonpartisan issue. And that's why the remonstrance is written in such a way. My friend Robin Kerner, who is the co-author of this, is the founder of Blue Republicans. And what he has found is that there are many, many people within the Democrat population who embrace liberty-minded issues, although they don't recognize it.
We are coming to the end of the hour, KrisAnne. I hate to interrupt you, but I would like to get these two callers on the line to ask you a question. Let me go to first Dave. He has a question for you. Dave?
Yes.
Your question for KrisAnne Hall?
I have a couple of grandkids at a small startup private school. I'm wondering how large, how small of a group would she be interested, willing to address?
You know, I don't have any number threshold. I have made that standard from the beginning. It doesn't matter to me how many. I do like the large groups, obviously, because we get to meet and teach many people, but the number is not important. All we need is for you to contact me on my website, KrisAnneHall.com. That's KrisAnnehall.com. And when you contact me, my assistant, Janet, will get in touch with you about the details on how to set up a meeting.
KrisAnne, thank you so much. I have to tell you.
Thank you.
Oh, Dave, thank you so much for the call. When I was going to press the line for Dave's call, I disconnected Gary's call, so I do apologize to Gary, and we are running out of time. KrisAnne, I want to thank you so much for joining us and giving us this great opportunity to listen to you once again. And your website again, KrisAnneHall.com. I would encourage our listeners, our audience, to not only go to your website, but to send you a donation so that you can help educate us about liberty, that you do such a good job educating us, and I want to see you be able to continue this ministry, so I would encourage our audience to send you a donation. And again, we thank you so much for joining us this morning, KrisAnne.
Thank you, ladies. You have a blessed day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, we want to continue this morning to find ways to restore the rule of law in the land that's supposed to be a government by, for, and of the people. For example, you know, at this point, I think the point needs to be made that the Second Amendment needs to be protected. We have a right to bear arms, and we have a president right now that is going around talking about the answer to the tragedy that we saw in South Carolina, and God bless the families of those poor victims. But Obama says that America has to come to grips with gun violence collectively as he secretly tries to arm our foreign enemies.
It's pathetic.
That's pathetic.
That he would use such a tragic incident as an opportunity for him to push his liberal progressive agenda.
That's right. You know, I think he needs to be impeached. I think somebody needs to be impeached. In fact, I'm not sure if it's Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. And I am just asking who you would think needs to be impeached. as we travel down the ladies' lane of Freedom's Highway. You know what? I see Gary's come back. I wonder if he'll talk to us, even though KrisAnne has left. Gary, good morning. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Hey, it's not a problem, Janice. Yeah, I think like 80% of them ought to be impeached. That's what I feel, because they've destroyed our liberty and our freedom and our Constitution.
Hey, absolutely.
Well, they can't destroy the Constitution exactly, but hey, it's KrisAnne. Is that her name?
KrisAnne, yes.
KrisAnne. She's a great woman, a beautiful woman, and we wake up every day with the knowledge that our birthright has been ripped out of our hands by our fellow citizens. And it's great to hear that they're out there fighting back, other citizens, for our freedom and our liberty. And I salute her, and I'm going to find some way to get in contact with her and help her, because we need to do this together. We need the long game, as they say, because it's taken 100 years to do what they've done to us. It's going to take 100 years to get it back.
Yeah, but every great journey starts with a single step, and I'm glad you're in the fight with us, Gary. I really appreciate your call and your dedication to the principles of liberty. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day, Gary. Take care.
Talk to you later, Jen.
Thank you.
Well,
Gina?
I just have so much admiration for her, and I wish that everybody that has listened this morning would just stop today and say, what can I do today for liberty? Can I speak to one person? Can I make one phone call? Can I take this wonderful document that she's written that's on this website, and can I send it to everybody that's on my email list? Those are little things we can do to get the ball rolling.
That's absolutely right. We're going to come back. We're going to interview Larry Ward, the political director of SOS, Special Operations Speaks. Stay with us after these important breaks.